The Sharks' defence still holds firm. January, Bobo. Little step himself. Bhavani Bobo, try!
But just watch our sleight of hand that Stormers were initially, and then Bhavani Bobo just starting on his feet, so strong, with two men actually holding on to him. Extremely difficult to have to step up, control the ball, and wait for the push from behind.
Welcome back to Phaka. It's always so great to celebrate our legends while they are still alive and kicking, and what an extraordinary career Bhavani Bobo has had, and an even bigger privilege to be his colleague right here on your World of Champions. But we move on now to celebrate another big milestone, that of the Universal Rugby Club, who were celebrating their 130-year anniversary at the end of October this year. And what a feat. We're joined by the former chairman, Lloyd Lowe. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Phaka studios. 130 years of a rich rugby culture. What does this anniversary mean for the club?
Oh, it means a lot for the club, Mats. You know, to put it all together, the highlight of the club was its centenary in 1986. But what added to it, and with all the challenges the club had, what I must emphasize that it's a purely amateur club, community-based club, and the club has had many challenges, but through all of it, they're here today that we could celebrate 130 years of existence. And to start it off, we had a Easter tournament launch, and the Easter tournament in Kimberley at the AR Abbas Stadium, which went off very well. And thanks to the support of SARU, you know, we could invite a number of teams, and we had a very successful tournament. And then this all culminated in the 130th anniversary dinner dance, which we had in Kimberley. And one of the privileges we had was that the president of SARU was actually present at the function, and it meant so much to us. Why it meant such a lot to us was the fact that with our centenary celebration, and even prior to that, Mr. Mark Alexander and his club, Pumas at that time, was, they actually played against us. And you know, we've got a good friendship and a good relationship that has built up over all these years. So we were very privileged that despite his busy schedule, I mean, you know, it was the Island Tour, it was the Currie Cup final, and it just so happened that our dance was the weekend after the Currie Cup final and before we had to leave for the England tour. And yes, it was a great honor for him to have him there for us. And also the club was awarded with a 130th anniversary plaque from SARU in recognition for existence, which we're really very grateful for that.
Well, certainly a club with a rich history, and we look forward to taking a look just at all that they have achieved over the 130 years.
This type of functions of a club that turns 130 years is the epitome of where club rugby should be. This is the bedrock of rugby. This is where rugby started in this country, by clubs. And traditionally those years ago, clubs used to be run by families. This is what it's all about. It's about the camaraderie. The ethos of the game is still maintained within clubs, the old traditional clubs like Universals. 130 years, a club that survived 2 world wars, the Boer War, the siege on Kimberley, apartheid and unification. It's unbelievable. It's great to have clubs like this. We need more clubs like this, you know. That's how the game started in our country. This is the bedrock of rugby in South Africa. And I'm proud to be here. 30 years ago, I actually played in this tournament, so it has a special place for me to be at the Universals tournament today.
It's a great honor for me to be here tonight at this 130th anniversary of the Universals Rugby Football Club. And on behalf of Northern Cape Cricket, I would like to congratulate them on this massive achievement of reaching 130 years. Obviously, the important thing for Universals and the existence of a club like Universals is the importance that the community plays, and also what is important is the role that the wives and the girlfriends play in the sport. And I think that any sport, whether it be cricket, rugby or soccer, it definitely needs the support of a community in order for it to survive in this day and age.
Club rugby is really the bedrock of our sport. This is where it all started. This is what keeps the game together, where families and people get together, and communities. You know, if one looks at rugby around the country, it's all about communities and families who played the game. You go to the Eastern Cape, it's very, very strong. Even in Kimberley, club from Kimberley. You know, so many significant events for rugby is taking place in Kimberley. So it's important to be here, and I'm actually proud to be here.
Well, the stories remarkably are free from recrimination and bitterness. The stories are a celebration of a band of brothers, a family, the Universal family, who became so immersed in the club culture. And the stories really relate experiences of a time that is largely ignored by the mainstream media and, you know, historians of the game. And so you have the ordinary guy and some extraordinary guys that played the game, and from administrators who were of service to the club and were just telling a story of what this club meant to them and the impact that the club had on their lives. And it's all packaged in this book. For me, as I was writing up and editing these stories, I could smell the wintergreen in the dressing room, and I could hear the roar of the crowd, and I could just feel that atmosphere. So essentially it was a labor of love that produced this book.
It was a wonderful era, but our constant struggle was money, money, money. We never got sponsorship anywhere. I remember we all walked around and asked for donations. I worked with a couple of guys that had one of Ideal Fish and Chips, I think at the time. He gave us a donation, but this is the way we built. And we used to make our money, not huge sums of money, but enough to sustain us till the next time.
After the inception of the dinner dance, that became our major fundraiser, and it was imperative that we kept that up. Otherwise, the club would suffer. Actually,
My highlight with the club was the club's centenary celebrations in 1986. And what was significant about our centenary was that we invited 6 clubs from different parts of the country. We had a very, very successful tournament, but the significant part of that tournament was that all the players that came down was accommodated by our players and our supporters. It was a celebration that was enjoyed by everyone that took part in it, and also by the public of Kimberley, because we had the Union Grounds or the AR Bus Stadium full for that whole weekend.
The good times I had with the club was the traveling. Those were the weekends we used to go away. You would rather lose 2 days of your salary, the meager salary, than to be left at home and not go with Universals. But I must say, through all the trials and tribulations and the hardships, we made it.
Universals is in our blood. Our blood is old gold and maroon, not green and white or whatever you want to call it. That is our club colors. This runs deep in us. We are Universals. We're proud of Universals.
The values that I learned through playing against Universals, but also playing for Universals. There's a person that has to be respected behind the player. The game is played by people. That was taught to me by my friends when I played against them, but also when I played with them. It was just the right thing to do, to acknowledge the role that Universals played in making me the person that I became, and mostly the player that I became. Because it's the little values that we tend to forget that makes the bigger picture a brighter one.
Many people have spoken about Universal as a family, and it is a family. So to just be part of this very historic occasion, I mean, I need to thank each and every one. The club is in good hands. We will keep everybody updated as to what will unfold for the next few months. But without the support of ex-players, ex-administrators, families, the club would not be where it is today. So I just need to once again say a huge thank you. And as chairperson, a newly elected chairperson, it is an honor and a privilege to be part of this exciting family club.
We're still joined by the former chairman of the Universal's Rugby Club, Lloyd Lowe, as we celebrate 130 years of this prestigious rugby club. Who are some of the greats that have come from Universals?
I think if I can just go back in the last 30 or 40 years, we've seen an insert there of Grantham Jansen. Okay, he hasn't only played in Kimberley, but I mean he's played in 2 other provinces. Also from the club we had players like Michael Leon, a stalwart in the club, and also a member that was very committed to the game and to the club, in that, you know, he went that extra mile. Michael was the type of person that if anything was needed for the practice grounds, a light or stuff, you know, being an amateur club and a community-based club, we didn't have a practice field, so you know, we had to have makeshift fields, and we had to have floodlights made, and everything had to be portable because we couldn't leave it there. And Michael was the one guy that we could rely on. Michael Leon, Roger Williams was the other one. One of the other greats of the club was an ex-referee, an ex-Saru referee, Desmond Pitt. He was actually, he blew the last Saru game prior to unification. Other greats of the club was Cassie Carls, David Robinson, which you've seen in the insert there, and so many of them. It just fails me now to get some of the other names, but
must be a lot.
Yes,
must be a whole lot from the club. But Sochak, I want to bring you in here because, you know, the role of clubs has become so important now, especially given where we find ourselves in South African rugby with our national team struggling so much in that outbound tour. What is the roles of clubs in assisting to move more talent into that international stage?
Maud, thank you very much, and I also want to say hi to this man. I can't remember when the last time we met. And first and foremost, Maud, I should think my starting point would be that it's unfortunate that for every advantage there's a disadvantage, and for every disadvantage there's an advantage. What I mean by that is clubs to us those days, because they were community based, they injected moral values of the community, of the society. And to date, because now it's so commercialized, we've moved from commercial values now. And that's why you find it, maybe he can also tell me, because not because of sponsors only. It's difficult even to find youngsters playing rugby these days, because now rugby has been so commercialized. If there is nothing for the youngsters, they can get involved. In any event, even from our guys, I'm talking about rugby legends. If you ask a legend to come and assist in rugby, he would ask a question: what is it there for me? And if there's nothing, he can't see himself wasting his time. You must remember that now rugby, because it's commercialized and because it's a professional era, it's a career to some. Now you cannot say rugby, we must backdate rugby and go back to the old days that we used to do rugby. It's so unfortunate. However, having said that, to us rugby, maybe it was your second heart. Let me put it. It was your right heart. If you don't play rugby, you are a misfit in the community nowadays, because you want to associate with, and rugby used to, you know, Mods, what you see today, it's pathetic. Clubs. If you see this maroon and gold, you would see ladies section wearing these colours, coming in full strength and supporting their clubs. It was not only a male folk thing. There was always women behind. Playing netball, after playing netball, they come to the field to come and share and support their male counterparts, and that's why it was so much a vibrant thing to have rugby in those days. And it's unfortunate how to bring it back. Then it's quite an effort to date, because you have to have money, because we struggle to transport these guys. And also I must add, Mott, that our rugby was so close and so vested in communities, and today it's very far from the communities today. And I think I need to emphasize this. We've been consumed by this so-called modern professional era, and I think it's to our disadvantage.
Leaving the communities in the dark. How would you, Lloyd, attract more young people to come and play for Universals?
Mott, I think what Makaya mentioned there was, if we just go back to prior unification, and if I can just sketch something quickly, we had a rugby union, a Griqualand West Rugby Union, and we had five, six senior clubs, and then we had second teams, and then we also had schools rugby, which was primary schools and high school rugby. Now, during the week, we would have, on a Wednesday, the primary schools would play, on a Thursday, the high schools, and then on a Saturday morning, of the teams, we would have some primary school and high school rugby, and then of course our senior rugby, our second team rugby, and then senior rugby going into the afternoon. And exactly as Makaya mentioned, that support we had, the AR Bus Stadium was the place to be on a Saturday, because the netball to a certain extent, but to a large extent the hockey which played next to us at the AR Bus Stadium, when they finished their games, they would come in there and come and support. And yes, it would be wives, girlfriends of our players. What we would like to see happening again is to get more involvement and assistance for the schools, because I mean that's our nursery, and that is what's lacking in the community today. I mean, the other thing that has happened is that the rugby was taken out of the community. You know, we used to play rugby at the AR Bus Stadium. But what happens now is the rugby is taken away from the community, and being working class people, you know, traveling over the weekend isn't also that easy. And getting to those grounds, with the result that, you know, the support isn't there anymore. And
well, we're going to have to cut you off there, because we're obviously ending the show now. But congratulations, 130 years of prestige, and also being part of the community still is really something to be lauded. So thank you, Mr. Lloyd Lowe, the former chairman of the Universals Rugby Club from Kimberley, as well as you, Sir Jack. Thank you so much. And if you can, in your communities, assist in any of the rugby clubs that are running, do put in your time, your energy, your resources to make sure that they continue to thrive and serve the communities well. For the Springboks, though, lots of work to be done. But even though it may look doom and gloom right now, we've had some pretty good times in the green and gold.
Van der Westhuizen, Stransky looks for the drop. Has he got it? Yes, it's over! Stransky's drop number 2 in the match, and South Africa are in the lead, 15 points to 12. Just 7 minutes of play left, and these will be the longest 7 minutes that those 15 players and these 62,000 people. That is it. The final whistle then. South Africa win this Rugby World Cup final. Wait for the roar when that is lifted.
Van der Westhuizen, honey ball. Oh, big gap! Peter Rousseau!
Van der Westhuizen, skin stat. Can he do it again? Oh, dummy! Brilliant! Brilliant!
Watch this. From that angle it looks simple, but that has broken this game into smithereens. The Springboks Box will come away from here and they are going to be the Tri-Nations champions.
It's his fourth try and he ran circles around George Gregan. And who would ever have dreamt they'd come from where they were last year to win the Tri-Nations in 2004. Advantage to England. Now can they get it out wide? England score, I think.
Yeah, that's will he touch the line? If you touch the line, you hear me now. If you touch the line, you out.
No try. No try. It's up high, over!
What a boinky!
The 80 minutes is up, the time is up. The time is up, the referee's whistle goes. Another moment that will go down in the annals of South Africa's sporting history forever. South Africa have won the World Cup of 2007. Yes, unbelievable.
January or gap up the middle. Here goes January. Kicking trash. This could be sensational. Oh, what a try!
Gracefully executed.
Oh, brilliantly taken. Obviously the change with Pienaar coming on further out in the back line. January stayed out and what a great decision that was.
I think he's pretty happy.
There is a penalty to South Africa, 5 metres inside their own half of the field. It's got the distance. Steyn! Morné Steyn has won the game for South Africa. The All Blacks have a line out finally to work off, and Jean de Villiers is through. The interception. Here comes South Africa's second try. Jean de Villiers gets his 4th against the All Blacks and his 18th of his Test career. South Africa are the champions.
Arnold Bismarck du Plessis. Pelé kwa kona. Peters come off. Wananyagaza. Wanemos. Claudius Mini Argentina. Andy Colelwa lento. Andy Colelwa. Hiwasa. Takakawa. Mafi. Wakosibala. Andiko. Oh, Japani Pomala.
My goodness! Yenza Kibishana! Yenza Kimbali! Wenza Kamanyala! A breaking stadium!
Manitoba! Nyagazagaxe! Dion Batista Fagiti! Amadaliana Pumalale! Ayakala Upetama Pogo Pogo! Wimbali Yabo Yompoko!
You're the first coach to be at the helm when a South African side has lost 8 matches in 1 year. Would you consider your position?
No, it is tough. No, definitely tough, and it's not nice. But like I said, this is not the start this year. It's come on for a couple of years now. I mean, we have lost for the first time against the Argentinas back home. We've lost against Japan, and we've lost this year against Italy. So definitely there are fundamental problems that we need to address.
And last word I would like to say, don't tell the South Africans when you arrive in South Africa after this tour. Just keep it quiet.